Any other questions, comments? Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Greg Camp. I'm the city administrator for the city of Festus, and I happen to know where Perryville is. And I see my friend Dave Grimes in the back from CMO RPC, who knows infinitely more about air pollution than I ever will. Something that came out of that last conversation, and I wanted to make sure that we had a chance to comment on, is that there be consideration given to outstate Missouri. This is not necessarily something that we should follow the map that we saw where the most of the VW purchases were, whether they were in Springfield, Columbia, Kansas City, and St. Louis. This isn't just those communities' problems. It's an issue that we'd like to be able to address, whether it's where we break the state down into regions, not unlike how MoDOT does, although I'm not adding any credence to how MoDOT does things, but I certainly feel that we need to make sure that this isn't just a St. Louis issue or a Kansas City issue. There is obviously places where we can make improvements in outstate Missouri as well, and that's my 2 cents worth. Thank you.
We're here as long as you all want to be here until 3 o'clock.
So, hour and 1 minute. Okay. My name is Dan Bryan, the city administrator in Deloge, Missouri, St. Francis County. If you guys know, and I do, again, know you're a Perryville pirate, and I want to kind of echo what Greg said. And just consider, I looked at, looking at the map, and I think Greg hit it right on the money there, where I too want to reemphasize that I believe that it should be one of those issues that is widespread across, even in, my county, St. Francis County, other surrounding counties. We need to look across the board. I just want to bring that out as well. I didn't want to leave without saying that. It's something that you've already heard. However, in fairness to my city, I wanted to speak it.
Kevin Hurdler with St. Louis Clean Cities, and like the rest of them here, I'm promoting all the fuels, not just one or other. Since some of the fuels weren't like infrastructure and stuff wasn't into this, we still want to find some way to support biodiesel, and I had a request the other day that we do at least make the engines biodiesel B20 compatible. That really only leaves out 2 manufacturers. That's Detroit Diesel and Mercedes-Benz. But in both Illinois and Minnesota, they have waivers, so there's no reason why they shouldn't do it everywhere. So we would like to see that, to kind of promote that part of the fuel also. And then going back to the the switch engines, as Mark knows, we did a switch engine here in St. Louis, and they seen close to a 75% fuel savings in that, plus very clean engine, Tier 4 engine. And also boats, river boats, the harbor boats, they're just about all Tier 0 also. Between Mark and I, we've done 7 or 8 of those, and we can get Tier 4 engines in those. So another good fit for, at least for this region. Okay, Chris.
So if we were to go towards B20 engine, whatever it is there going to be some type of requirement that they report on B20 or whatever the fuel it is that they're using? So you're right that vehicle just be filled up with regular diesel.
We would like to see something. It's going to have to depend on what we actually come up with a final project. We've been pushing all along to promote all the fuels and not just electric and not just hydrogen. And, so we're just trying to get them all in there. Right.
I would almost like to, this is my 2 cents, almost like to see, if they are getting funding for the B20 vehicle, there actually is a requirement
to use it.
Right.
Yeah, and we talked about that, so. Oh, I'm sorry. He asked if, the question was, if we promote biodiesel, that they actually use the fuel, or whatever fuel that is, that they actually use the fuel, so we know that if we bought this farm, that they're actually using it. And so, and that question is something that we'll have to, work on and figure that part out. But we're hoping to do that with, and we're also hoping to promote all the American fuels so that we can, actually make a difference, So. Okay.
Anyone else? Any questions, comments? David?
My name is David Grimes, work with the Southeast Missouri Regional Planning Commission down in Perryville. I work with 7 counties, and while I admire you folks that think in big terms, if it don't happen in my 7 counties, I don't care. Well, there's a couple things that I do want to make sure that I point out. Stationary engines are a big deal, and these things tend to not be used much, but when they are, they're used a lot, and a lot of them are really, really old. So, and I'm thinking specifically, we live in the river bottoms, and we got levee districts that have got some really antique diesel engines that I'd love to be able to replace. So let's make sure we got that. The other thing is we've got carve-outs for school buses, and I agree that's a real recipe for making pollution. That said, if you really want to get to the recipe for making pollution, look at the trash trucks. These guys get up. They're up before the sun is up. They run all day, start and stop and start and stop and start and stop. So we really need a carve out for those too. And we've done some work with those in my neck of the woods. We've done some work on riverboats too. But those 2 things I'd really like to see involved in any plan that we get. Oh, and if I saw Mark's thing this morning, they sent over from the city of Perryville. If he hadn't been up here, I'd have read that into the record.
So you guys are very well straight shooters, huh?
I feel like we should take a poll, who knows where Perryville is and has been to Perryville. See, I think you're surprised. Any other questions, comments? Well, I will add that the team will hang out a little bit after the meeting, because I know some of you don't really want to talk on the record, or if you thought of a question after. Again, Stacy, Mark, Darcy, Emily, and myself will be here for a while until 3, if you're still here. So just come up and ask us questions. Also, our next meeting is in Springfield next week, and then we'll have the December 7th meeting in Jefferson City at 1 o'clock at our Elm Street Conference Center. So thank you all.